All right, friends, how you doing? Today we're going to be talking about Europe and some of the major problems that are going on and the possibilities for a future that is uncertain and really unhappy by most of its people. Welcome to PrepperNow.
Please, Lord, help me get one more.
PrepperNow is now being sponsored by Augusta Precious Metals. They're a member of the Better Business Bureau, and you can check them out online at AugustaPreciousMetals.com, and a great place to consider putting your retirement if you want to put it into a gold or silver IRA. All right, folks, welcome back to Prepper Now. Another driving ride. Hope you joined us on the live stream last night. Talked about all kinds of different stuff. Ended on the ballot thing that Trump was talking about. See where that goes. But as we sit here and worry about America and all the things going on, I can tell you that Europe is in terrible shape too. Europe is messed up. Europe has fiscal problems. Their people are unhappy. There's all kinds of, there's obviously what's going on in Eastern Europe, but there's other things going on too. So I'm going to kind of go through it. And, the problem with Europe is this. It's got a disconnect between its technocratic government, and it is a technocracy, and its people. And the people really don't have any kind of a recourse. They can't really do much to change things. So let's start with what's going on in Serbia. So I haven't really covered it much. Sometimes these things are just one-offs, and it's not really a big deal. So you just kind of watch what's going on and you let it be the flash in the pan that you think it is. So when I do the crisis report, I haven't really talked about it. I've seen it, but it hasn't really been anything that I thought was of note right now. But it is going on. There are major clashes in Serbia in different cities. And these are anti-Vucic. Vucic is the guy in charge. He's kind of seen as pro-East and a little less West, okay? But he plays both sides. But it's interesting timing. Now, of course, if you know this area, it's had a bit of a colorful past, especially what went on in the 90s. So there's a history of violence. And these people are now starting to openly fight each other, the pro-Vucic, anti-Vucic people in the streets of some of the major cities. Vucic has come out and said, hey, if this keeps up, it's going to devolve into a way where people are going to start to not just get hurt, but worse. So I've been kind of watching it, and there's nothing really there yet that I thought needed to be reporting on a full geopolitical. It seems a little bit more localized, but if you do look at it, it could have some implications. If you see what's going on with Europe, where they're worried about the bear country and what they're going to do, the big thing they say is that bear country is going to go in and start to take the Baltics and other countries like that. So Vucic being kind of more sympathetic to the East instead of the West, that could have some implications. So there could be some undertones, some under the surface stuff. I don't know quite enough about it yet. I don't know who these warring groups are, with the exception of this nebulous, one is pro-Vucic, one is not, but they are fighting in a way that it seems existential. So that's not good. Moving on to the financial arena of Europe. Numerous people in Europe are struggling. The prices of food, they're getting hit there just as we're getting hit here. It's no different. Food and all that, basically across most of the Western countries and more modern countries, it's affecting people. They're not able to get by. Inflation is rampant. So it's not just an American phenomenon. Just came out that 40% of Spaniards are really not doing well, and they are worried about their financial freedom in future, just like we all are. You know, you go in and you do polling of Americans, you know, and there's a large concern of people that aren't going to be able to make it and pay the bills. They're worried about their financial futures. So this is a phenomenon that is going across the world, and this is a phenomenon that is also squared in Europe. Now, when we were over there, we were in France, Belgium, and Netherlands, and the food is expensive. Not just if you're eating out, but also if you're buying groceries. And, you know, the way we travel is we'll do one meal every, day or two, depending on convenience. And usually what that is, we went to, the public squares. We get little knick-knacky stuff and kind of combine to try different things. Well, I had to go to the grocery store. I went to the grocery store in France, went to the grocery store in Netherlands, went to the grocery store. I don't know if we went in Belgium because Belgium was so quick. Anyway, ate a meal in Belgium, and it was expensive. It's good. It's expensive. And you can definitely taste there's a higher quality of food over there. But anyway, people are having problems. They're not making ends meet. They're not, able to put food on the table in a way that is affordable. We think we get taxed to death and have some things that are trying us over here. Good Lord. You should see what's going on with Europe with all that. I mean, there are speed cameras everywhere. There's, I mean, seriously. I remember we were driving in Netherlands and all over the place. Don't go over the speed limit. A lot of surveillance technology. When we were in Reykjavik, my wife got a ticket right as we were driving to the airport to leave because we were running a little bit behind. She's got a bit of a lead foot, and, sure enough, she got clipped with one of those speed camera thingies. So, and it was $150. It wasn't 70 or, no, it was expensive. So this is, just other things you got to deal with. Europe is expensive, and they have a lot of debt. And one of the big concerns of people over there in Europe is that they're going to lose their identity. Their national identity is going to be lost. Now, of course, they go, oh, it's nationalist, blah, blah. I mean, if you're Serbian, if you're Spanish, if you're French, if you're any European nationality, you tend to really love who you are and where you come from. You love your history. You love all of that. It's not like you're trying to be, I don't know, you're not, your identity isn't European. Your identity is whatever nationality you are. There's nothing wrong with that. It's actually kind of cool. So what Europe is now doing is they're basically trying to turn into what they're calling a super state. And what is that? Well, that is a state that is 500 million people across an entire continent that really doesn't have an identity outside of being European. It's making a lot of people mad. Some of the other ins and out about this is, if you remember, not so long ago, about 10, 20 years ago, this term called the pigs, which is Portugal, Ireland, Greece, Spain. Okay? And these countries were having sovereign debt crises. And the problem is that they didn't have a mechanism to deal with it as a super state kind of entity. It's in the EU rules that you can't roll over debt from one country to another. Well, now what they're doing is they're starting to figure out ways to work around that. So they haven't explicitly changed any of the rules or the laws that are on the books, but they have made it so now, at least in a political sense, these countries can go in and they can take over the debt of some of these poor actors. Well, when you're like Germany or maybe like Slovakia or another one of these countries that are a little bit more financially put together, and you're paying for the sins of profligate spending from other countries like Greece, that's going to make your population angered. And that's kind of the whole of the thing with this whole European experiment, is there's so many people and there's so many different ethnicities and stuff that it honestly can kind of cause more of controversy and anger towards different groups, because they're trying to lump them all into one. And of course, this is the grand experiment of globalization. That's what Europe is. And honestly, it's not doing great because it's too big. It's too big. You can't have that many people with that many ins and outs and expect it all to work out. And then when you take someone's profligate spending and you put it on the shoulders of another person, that tends to anger people. And that's kind of where we're at. So when you look at Europe and all that's going on, it's in a mess. People are angered. People are leaving. And I haven't even touched on the new neighbors thing that's going on. You should see what's going on with that. I did a thing on the crisis report about our new friends from the Middle East that have gone there. Most of the countries have seen a rise in the student populations of certain religions by 30, 40, 50% in the last 15, 20 years. That's a problem, because it's incongruent with the culture. So when you take all the other stuff I just talked about and then you add that in, you've got some major problems brewing. All right, friends, I just want to talk to you about Europe and all that, and kind of what I'm seeing, and some concerns and some stories, and just kind of lumped them in because there are major problems going on in Europe. We are brought to you by Augusta Precious Metals. We appreciate you. God bless you all. Check us out on Gabminds, Twitter, Truth, X, Locals, Subscribe Star, and Substack. See you on the next one.